Well, hello everybody, and this is Louise Eddington, the Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology again, here with charts and cards in black and white with my friend Erica Robinson. And I've realized I've got these in and I don't have them plugged in, so I'm wearing them for nothing. So I'll just use, I'll just use the main speaker, the main mic. Anyway, there's been some big news just released, and Erica saw it, and I have been on reading, so I didn't. So I'm going to let her tell you, and we are going to kind of just pull some cards on it. Erica's more of the card reader, but this is my trusty deck that never gets things wrong, so I will pull cards on it. This is my favorite deck, so I'll pull some tarot on it as well. But I'll let Erica take the lead on this one. So it's about...
So this is just hot off the press news, hot off the presses. And I just finished, I just hit the submit button to my Substack. So go read that. But the news is that Project 2025 is apparently, we'll just call it, going to cease operations as of immediately. The reason given, and the head of the guy that's putting it all together supposedly is stepping down from his position. The reason for this that was given was that there's been backlash. What's interesting is the way they phrased it. They didn't say backlash against Trump. They said backlash from Trump about all, the policies of 2025. And people who work for Project 2025 have been directed to make clear that Trump has nothing to do with it. Now, of course, I mean, it's not like Trump masterminded it. He didn't.
No, and he hasn't read it.
No, he hasn't, because he doesn't read. But
No,
his
exactly.
handlers, meaning the Heritage Foundation, the Project 2025 people, that he is their useful idiot.
Yes.
He is their sort of front-facing whatever. But he's gotten a lot of flack. J.D. Vance, I believe, was picked by Project 2025. I think they thought, we'll just prop up Trump over here as our figurehead, and we'll do everything we're going to do. And we'll even put out there a J.D. Vance so that everybody's clear on what our platform is all about. Well, this backfired on them, as I've written in the Substack, in ways large and small. I mean, cat ladies and couches, I'll just say.
I mean, is he the worst VP pick ever in the
Well,
world?
I mean, not if you're Project 2025 and you just gonna roll down, havoc like hail coming from the mountaintop. But Trump is scared, and he's angry that he's felt supplanted. He's felt pushed out of the way. Now, on the one hand, well, of course that's how he feels, because that's literally what's happened. However, if you're the Project 2025 people, you say to yourselves, wait a minute, yeah, we want to shove him to the side and prop him up just as our useful idiot, but we don't want him to know that that's what we're doing. So we will make this proclamation, this public proclamation, that we are standing down. But really, are we standing down? I think it's like if you are in a tenement and you turn on lights and the cockroaches scatter.
Yeah.
And then, so you see them scatter. And if you're an idiot like Trump, you say, oh my God, good, they're gone. But what you're not thinking about is the fact that as soon as you turn off that light, they will be back to business, those cockroaches. So I pulled some cards just to see, I only pulled 5. And I used the letter to stand for Project 2025 only to remind people that it is a 900 some page document, which you can find online. You can see excerpted. You can go, you can watch Joy Reid, who is,
it's also,
breaking it down.
I've still been leaving that document in our description
Right.
every time we do this, where
Good, because
they,
I want
uh,
people to know, I mean, I'm sure it's not light reading, but, that's what this stands for. So that's in the center. So the first card I have is the ship,
mm,
then the heart. In the center, of course, is the letter. And then we have the woman, the young woman, and then we have the mice. So what's this all about? To me, it's very much a card line that's talking about keeping the peace. They will
mm,
still move ahead
oh,
because this project is the project of their hearts. This has been in the making since Reagan. I'm just telling everybody, it's
oh,
been in the works since forever. So they are wedded to this project. However, and I hate this is going to sound really sexist, and it's not my fault. It's because this oracle was created in a certain, historical cultural context. So we have the last two cards, which is the young woman and the mice. Here, the young woman, this is yin energy. They are going to
mm,
have to soften themselves to make themselves look less threatening, right?
yeah,
That's what this card is about because Trump is scared. And it's not just Trump who are scared. The 2025 made a very stupid calculated decision to throw it all out there, throw the spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. Well, what sticks is that people are horrified by the details of this
mhm,
document. So what they're having to do is just tiptoe away, you know, look non-threatening to Trump, by the way, and to the population, the
yeah.
the electorate, but trust and believe they are doing their dirt in the dark, just like the cockroaches do.
And my lovely Toth Tarot agrees. So that's the breaking news, I take it. Like
Mhm,
breaking through. Then suddenly the Page of Wands reversed is going, like, put the brakes on, stop
mhm.
this. Then I get the Hermit card, and I think they are going at each other behind closed doors. Okay, so
Absolutely.
and then I got the Four of Cups, like, it had overflowed, everything had overflowed. So bring it back in, and they are going to plan a more strategic approach, I think. So anyway, that's how I read those.
So, as I like to say, watch this space.
Yes, yes. Oh, oh, geez, my mind is gone. It'll come back if it's meant to. I had a thought building on that. But oh yeah, I meant to say, and we forgot to talk about this before. His thing about my lovely Christians, I love you, my Christians, you will never have to vote again.
Right.
Rachel
Now,
Maddow,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
yeah.
It's just that again, he is useful, but remember the other half. He's an idiot. So
Oh,
literally, this is the Project 2025 plan, as it's J.D. Vance's plan, which is to say only certain people will be the electorate. It'll be
yeah.
white men who are landed or wealthy, which is the equivalent of landed, who
Now
have
what you said
families, who
only,
have
yeah,
children. Nobody else will be voting, or if you vote, your vote will count less than theirs will. So Trump hears this and
yeah,
he thinks that there is sort of an antipathy writ large on the part of Christians towards voting, which of course is not. I think that's not true. I don't know where he got that from, but so he says, "Don't worry, you'll never have to vote." But then he continues and says, "Again, I mean, it's not just vote for me and I'm not going to run again because you can only do 2 terms. It's He said the quiet part with a bullhorn.
is
You
he cheap?
will. There won't be voting. We'll have a whatever kind of government they want, not a democracy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say on Twitter, I don't go on loads, but I read some stuff on there. I've seen repeal the 19th Amendment more than once from
Yep.
these people. Yeah, no. And
Well,
I
because,
do,
because that's what happened, is that they threw that spaghetti, and
Mhm.
sure, there are people who say, whoa, that looks good. That looks great. But it's not as many people as they think. It's just that base.
But I don't think Project 2025 actually says repeal the 19th Amendment, but that doesn't mean it's not in their plan, because they've already said they're not telling us everything anyway. So
That's right. They're not telling us the fine print. And there's a
yeah,
lot of that.
yeah. So I do think that's in the plan, and they're calling a big halt on it. I do think they're really kind of like at each other at the moment about what's, because the head of um, the Heritage Foundation keeps saying enough as well.
Mhm.
And JD Vance wrote the foreword for his book.
Right. So there you go.
Okay, so what else were we going to look at?
So
We
we
were
were going to look at this, the doomsaying around
oh,
Kamala's chart.
oh, I have opinions about that. And I don't mean to diss any other astrologer, prediction in astrology, well, and in cards, because energy is mutable, is a non-exact science. But I keep hearing this big kind of intake of breath about Saturn crossing Kamala's 10th house Chiron in Pisces. Now, I look at it and I go, she's been in this for ages. Saturn already crossed over her Chiron. She's also has a very strong Saturn in her natal chart, and she was born with that retrograde right at the top of her chart. But her Saturn by progression, which is a big long-term thing, moved into the sign of Pisces, where Saturn is now, just before the 2020 election. So she became more Saturn in Pisces on that election as she became VP. So she's been learning what it is like to be Saturn in Pisces since then. And that's nearly at the top of her chart. And Saturn will go over her Chiron again twice. But long story short, this is something she's already mastering and has mastered. The Saturn in her, by where it is now in her chart, activates all the trauma and abuse she had growing up, probably as a Black woman, being bussed when she was younger, all those kind of things. She's used to it. She's,
Okay,
yeah,
she
yeah,
is. I have cards. I pulled cards while you were talking. And what I
yeah.
decided to use as the central card, I thought, let's just call a spade and use the cross. Because if Chiron is where her wound is, let's just acknowledge this and stick it in the
And,
center. And
and
then
particularly because she has Chiron in Pisces, I
right,
always see that as Christ consciousness energy,
there
kind
you
of
go.
that.
Perfect. And I
Yep.
don't know about
No,
these,
it always
but there you go.
aligns.
Okay. So that's in the center. So the cards that I have are again the ship, which is her moving forward,
Mhm.
and the fact that she has experienced this. And again, I mean, I don't know where my Chiron is, but I'll just say, as a Black woman, there's a book that's from the title of it comes from a poem, I think by Langston Hughes. My life ain't been no crystal stair. Her life has
I
not been
love
a crystal, like Cinderella, right? No Black woman's life, I don't care who you are, has been a crystal stair. However, this is this this these trials and tribulations are are pivotal to her being right for this moment.
that.
Key, necessary. Now,
And
the final two
the
cards are,
symbol, the way the symbol for Chiron in astrology looks
oh,
like a key.
that's true, it
I,
looks like a key. And
I
then
always call it a key to healing.
the final two cards are the lily and the star. Now, here's what I love about this.
Mm,
We can mirror the ship and the stars. She is sailing towards her destiny. She's made for this. And then with Key and Lily, I just want to say a word about Lily. Because she's been so battle tested,
Mm.
this is how she has unlocked the door to her great equanimity and calm and peace and centeredness. Nobody can push her off of her lily pad. And by the way, her name, Kamala, the name
Lotus
itself is lotus. And where does a lotus grow? In
on,
mud. It is this
and
beautiful thing that grows from
and
mud and tribulation.
as well, that 10th house where her Chiron is in Pisces, which is the ocean sailing as well. So,
Perfect.
I completely agree with what the cards say. My astrology just tells me that she's really battle tested, as you said, and now she's floating. And her name does mean lotus, and but that's also for the goddess Lakshmi, who is
Right.
one of the more beautiful Hindu goddesses. And I can sense it in her. I don't want to hear what people talk about her record. I think since she got chosen as VP and she and Biden won the election, I think she's grown and blossomed so much and been in the background learning how it all works. And she's got this. I feel this strength in her, this kind of,
Right.
you know,
That's the
yeah.
lily. That's that lily, that sort of strength that doesn't have to be all up in your face, ugly, rude, and loud. But it's because it's so centered and sure of itself, it
Yeah.
comes across as confident and calm. And of course, as you can imagine, as you've seen, this drives certain people, 45, crazy.
Oh, it drives so
Beautiful thing.
many people.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So
Oh
the
my God.
third thing that we wanted to look at, well, I think it's time because I think if we don't do it now, we'll miss the proverbial boat that we've seen twice, is to look at her VP choices.
And I don't have the charts for them all, so I'm just going to pull one card for each as
All
Erica
right.
pulled
Now,
cards
I
for them.
mean, I'm gonna say that I want to go on record as saying I find it very off-putting the pundits' speculation that she needs to have a white man to balance her energy. When in life have we ever spent so much time on this kind of balance? I mean, and look
What
what,
not?
as I wrote in my
What,
Substack, look what happened to Hillary Clinton when she picked who she
oh,
picked.
oh
Who?
God. Yeah.
Tim, Tom, Tim, who? No,
I mean,
nobody knew who that guy
but
was.
he turned out to be a decentish guy. I've seen him talk a bit recently, but as a
I'm sure
VP,
he's a decent guy, but when we are in this inflection moment, why
oh yeah.
not go for broke? Listen, if 2025 could go for broke by saying JD Vance and here's our plan, and if they could throw spaghetti, why don't we throw some spaghetti too? But I
Oh,
don't. She will have people in her ear telling her, no, it's not quite the time. Well, I mean, it's not the time if you say it's not the time,
I
right? I mean,
think I heard somebody say that this morning, they said we weren't ready for a black president until we got one.
until
And
we voted for one and got one, right? So I
yeah.
feel like we want to narrow things down a little bit.
Mhm.
I think that um
I'd still like to pull on Waltz. So they say the top three so far are Shapiro, what's his name from Arizona, um,
uh
the the
Kelly,
Astro
Kelly.
Kelly
Mhm.
and Waltz. So there's those three.
All
But
right.
I also
Then there might be a wild
oh,
card.
yeah, yeah. There's also
So Cooper,
Cooper and Bishop.
Cooper, didn't he pull? I think he withdrew.
Oh, did he? Okay.
So okay, so I'm
And
pulling three for Shapiro, who actually is my top choice. I don't think Buttigieg will be considered. I think they'll have a different post in mind for him that would be terrific, like, I don't know, Secretary of State or something.
I
So,
pulled three, him too.
okay, so we've got Shapiro at the top. Shapiro at the top. This Kelly is I pulled 3, 4, and then Waltz. You want me to pull 4,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then
I'm gonna pull
we can pull.
3 more for like a wild card, someone that we're not thinking of.
So Kelly first. I mean, sorry, I've done
No,
Shapiro,
Shapiro
then
first.
Kelly. Kelly. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's see. Um, okay. So for Shapiro, I have the child, the tree, and the letter. Now, what I just want to say a word about the child, because people might say, oh, that doesn't look good. But the child is someone fresh, new, innovative, so that even though he's a white guy, I mean, white guys can be fresh, new, and innovative too. I'm not saying that they can't. I
He's
like
Jewish,
the
so he'd
tree.
be the first.
I
Be the
like the
first.
tree very much because tree is about sort of longevity.
Yeah.
Um, and what we're trying to do, are we not, is to sort of lean into this paradigm shift for the
Mhm.
long haul. And then this is votes right here. So um, I think I think it looks good for Shapiro. What did you get for Shapiro?
Okay, so I got the art card first. I love this deck because they're slightly different. The Sagittarius one shooting the arrows. But what I like about this is the blending of all opposites, the alchemy.
Mm,
So it's a Jewish male, a black and Asian woman, mixing everything together,
right.
really, you know. And then in the middle, I kind of got the Knight of Cups. He's kind of waiting emotionally, going, is this my time? Is this my time? That's kind of what it feels like. But then the Power card.
Oh, see, okay,
That's the Sun in Capricorn. And Capricorn is, leadership, really. So
all
I think,
right.
yep.
Okay, so second, we are looking at Mark Kelly. Recall he is the astronaut. He's also the husband of Gabby Giffords, who was shot in the face. So, I mean, And I have some interesting cards for him. I have the older woman,
Mm.
I have scales, and then I also have the younger woman as well. I mean, I think Gabby Giffords and her story is incredibly
Oh,
compelling. Um,
yeah.
for the purposes of this exercise, meaning the vice presidency. But I think this is the extra card that I added to the deck. Um, I just feel that they're having to do a little bit more weighing of pros
Mm.
and cons with him than they are with Shapiro. Now, I've heard some people say, well, they don't want to lose him in the Senate, but he's already his seat comes up. So he would be replaced by the Democratic governor, um, by a Democrat. And
Mm.
then he would, I mean, then there would be an election like there would be anyway. But I
But
think
it
that they're
but
trying
it's also a swing state, so there's a risk his seat could go back to the Republicans.
exactly, there is that risk. And I think that that's what this card's all about. Um, I think, I think Kamala likes him. I think there's a lot about him that's likable. But with this in the middle, I don't think so. I still hold out my idea that Shapiro is the top pick for the moment.
Yeah. So for him, I got Knight of Wands reversed. So kind of
First.
held back kind of thing. Hold back your fire. And then I got the Emperor, and I was a bit like, okay, maybe, but maybe that means because this Emperor is kind of solid on his throne, maybe he needs to stay where he is on his throne. And
Mm,
then because I got this card next, the works, and that's the Mars in Capricorn kind of thing. I kind of think his usefulness and meaning is where he is.
yeah,
So
yeah,
mhm,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Okay, now the next one you wanted to look at was Waltz.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him, so I'm just gonna show you what the
Oh,
card.
he's a fabulous governor, and he can talk as well.
Okay,
He's
but
the
look,
one that started the whole weird thing.
Oh, he started the weird thing. Yes. Okay, that definitely check in his favor. However, look
Oh
at the
yeah.
cards. I have the book. Now,
Mm.
you and I know that books hold information, but in Lenormand, no. The book in Lenormand generally is something that that is hidden, some information that we don't know. Now, of course, everybody gets vetted, and who knows? But there's he said there's something about him that is an unknown. Uh,
Mm.
to the populace at large, because the garden is sort of the people, everybody. And
Oh,
then
well,
we have,
that is definitely unknown in the public eye, for sure.
and then we have the
Oh,
mountain.
hmm.
And to
Hmm.
me, a mountain's not a bad card. It just means that, there's a pause. But I mean, if you're trying to get through that mountain, you're going to get your nose broken if you don't notice that it's there. You'll slam right up against it. I don't think he is going to be the nominee.
I actually don't, and the first card it told me right away, Dominion reversed.
Reverse.
So Mars in Aries saying no, not your time. This is the Chariot, which does indicate movement, but it also indicates kind of preparing for movement and holding back a little bit.
Mhm.
He could get he could get a spot in the cabinet, because
Right.
he's very knowledgeable. He's on the DNC Rules Committee and all that kind of stuff. And then I got the Prince of Discs, which is the Earth card, and I kind of feel like that's more Earth is more solid and staying where you are kind of thing. So
Yeah, I mean, for me, this mountain is about biding your time. The book could be about him even saying to himself, I don't know, is this the right move for me?
because he's so well loved in Minnesota as well. So, I think he likes it there.
right, right.
But I think he's enjoying going out there and talking and putting that weird thing out there. So I don't know some if he's going.
Everybody has their job to do in this grand war. Now, we also decided to pull cards for a wild card. Now,
Mhm.
that might seem a little bit kind of like we're obfuscating, um, but I mean, we could sit here and pull cards for every single person. I would just like to look and see, is it someone that we've not thought of yet?
Mm.
Uh, so we have the whip,
Oh,
we have the crossroads, and then we have the heart. Very, very interesting. I'm
mm,
thinking that if I had to say, I would say Shapiro would be the safe choice, but that
mhm,
this would be the kind of choice that you make when you say, listen, let's just go for broke on this.
mhm,
Let's just go
mhm,
for it. And there might be a lot of conversation about that. This is the
mhm,
whip card. Um, and it would be maybe a choice that was, we'll call it off the beaten path. So for example, if I'm doing a reading on health and crossroads come up, I'm going to generally suggest some sort of alternative health approach that somebody takes with crossroads here. So here,
mhm.
I feel like this would be something really different. But that as crazy, wild, excited as people have been about Harris's nomination, I don't know. I think that with this wild card pick, that could ramp the excitement up. So I'm
Mm.
going to go with Shapiro or a wild card.
Well, I pulled cards for the wild card, and anyway, we got Strife first, 5 of Wands reversed,
Mm.
and then I got the Mercury in Aquarius card, which is the 6 of Swords. I think there's um when it's strife, it's not fighting strife. This is kind of like indecision kind of strife. I think there's a lot of, this person might not think they want it or being persuaded into it. It might be who Kamala would really like to be
Right.
with, and so on. And then I pulled this at the end, Princess of Cups, the emotion card.
Oh,
I wonder if it's Whitmer.
I know. I wonder if it's Whitmer.
I
She
know she
said she
said she
wasn't
doesn't.
interested, but people aren't interested until they're interested. So
Well, yeah. Well, we'll see.
that's we're gonna call her. We'll call her our wild card. I'm happy to go with that.
Mm,
And it would explain, I mean, your first card that you got there was what, the five of
five of wands. Yeah.
wands.
Mhm.
Okay, that's not unlike my whip. There's a
Yeah.
lot of back and forth. Do we try to go the tried and true, balancing thing, or do we go out and on a limb and do something?
Oh,
And
yeah.
and both, in both camps, there are legitimate arguments for either approach. And I think that's what the conversation will say is going on. And I think it's heated, not in a bad way, but
Oh, no.
heated and intense. And I'm gonna say, let's let our wild card be Whitmer. So I'm gonna say Whitmer or Shapiro. I don't want to do I'm not gonna look at both of them and say, and the winner is, I
Oh,
think it's
no.
enough that we say this one or that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we're
And
wrong, we're
yeah, if we're wrong, we're wrong. And the wild card speaks more of a woman to me,
Mhm.
although I still don't see Mayor Pete like you don't either. So.
Yeah, it's not time for it for Mayor Pete yet. He'll get a good job, but not VP.
Oh, he's doing a great job where he is. And God, they need him on Fox News for sure. So there was nothing else, was there? I want
No,
to
I think those were our three things we
I
wanted to
might
discuss.
quickly look at the headlines, make sure nothing else has come up.
I know because I mean every minute there's breaking news.
Oh, a member of um, Donald Trump's family has just endorsed Kamala. So Donald Trump's nephew, not Mary Trump,
No, it's
Fred
probably Mary's brother. I think
Fred
it's
Trump
Mary's
third.
brother. Yeah,
Fred,
it's Mary's
okay.
brother.
He's endorsed Kamala. So isn't that
Yeah,
interesting?
take that.
Well, what an election this is. I'm so glad we did. Because, yeah, it's well, A, it's fun, but also it's just such a rapidly moving situation. And I'm going to get this up as soon as possible on YouTube and remind everybody that there is a national organizing call for Kamala tonight, and I will put
Right,
the link in the description. Erica and I are both registered for it.
that's right.
Um, I've done organizing before, but I'll still go.
Well, it's good to get that sort of group energy.
It is,
You know?
yeah, yeah. I was on the white women one,
I eavesdropped on that one, and I was
I
very impressed. I was very, very impressed.
yeah, I saw it. I saw on Twitter some other black women were eavesdropping
Yeah,
too.
it just, um, I just, I really appreciated Glennon, Glennon
Glennon,
Doyle uh,
yeah, she's lovely.
the most. I thought she was, she says things that Black women say all the time, but because it comes out of our mouths, it's
Mm.
not taken seriously. But when you can, I'm a big language person. My book is called The Language of Lenormand. So I think in this case, when it comes to language, if you can use a first person plural pronoun, like we and us, meaning that I've been as guilty of this as you have, it can be much more effective than, if I say you white women, you know. I mean, again, we're saying the same thing, but it's all about the messenger. And I thought she delivered an amazing message.
She's lovely, Glennon Doyle is. Yeah.
Pink was great. It was terrific. I was really glad that I eavesdropped on that.
Yeah, good. Well, until next time, we'll be meeting again next week to cover what else has come up. We might know who the VP is by that point, candidate, and again in the comments, if you've got anything you want us to look at, please kind of tell us, but kind of be a little bit specific and give us an angle or a question to look at rather than just somebody gave me a one-word thing and I asked them what they meant and they never came back. So sorry, whoever that was, but anyway. So we'll see you next time.
See you
Bye.
next week.
Oh, hang on. Erica's got to mention her class.
Oh, so I have a class. It is an evergreen class. So for those of you who don't know what that means, it means it's not live. You can take it in your own time on your own schedule. And it's at uh, uh, Tarot Readers Academy. If you go there and you search my name or you look for Lenormand, you'll find it there. I will be doing a couple of lives in the Facebook group for that Tarot Readers Academy to answer questions and maybe do some readings in the next week or two. I also am doing my own YouTube channel, and that launches in a couple of days on August 1st, and it's called In the Company of Cards. Oh,
So perfect.
I don't know. It's called Spam Risk. Yeah, no. It's
Oh,
called In the Company of Cards, and it will be me using Lenormand and maybe my tarot and Adinkra oracles to look at some of these big questions. So I hope you'll join me there.
and I just want to mention that my consultation price is going up on August the 1st, so there's not much notice. I did put it out on my Substack, but because my state has decided to charge sales tax on all the things I have to use for my business, I have to pass some of it on somewhere. So, so till next time, see ya.
Take care.